of black women think that they're infallible or perfect, and that's not the case at all. I'm glad she points, and the thing about it, with this book, you ever notice it's only decent black men that face this kind of treatment from bad black women.
How can so many black women be hurt by this book, be so enraged over it, and there's no truth in it? You know, if there's no truth, why are you so enraged? If you're not in it, you don't know nobody in it, what's all the excitement? If you write me a book and say, I saw a man with 4 heads walking down the street, you know, hey, that don't apply to nothing I know about. I don't even pick up the book. You know, but now if it's a truth and it's touching you, and maybe it's uncovering you, or maybe it's giving your old man a chance to peep at you, then maybe you want to close that mouth up. You know, seem like to me the ones who's complaining are the most out of control women I have ever seen. And they say they're not out of control. You watch them watch how they attack their sister. I mean, some of them are sitting there, great big one, and sit right next to her like, you know, well, I don't agree with you. Boy, like they ready, like somebody set them up there to jump on the sister.
They did.
You know? Now, why would you do things like that if it's not true? You're showing you out of control. You're showing you just like she described from page 1. The ones like that's from page 1 through the whole book.
You know, I don't discuss my personal life a lot because of this project is so controversial, and I know that people are looking for ways to try to criticize me because they think that as a result of writing The Black Man's Guide to Understanding Black Women, that I'm trying to set myself up as being the perfect model, and that I'm telling everyone, you know, well, I have it all straightened out, you should listen to me. I wouldn't have any reason to come out here and go through this kind of abuse and attack that I have to go through in order to try to reunite the black man and the black woman in America based on somebody else's appeal or suggestion or anything else. See, this is a painful process, but the digestive process is threefold. You have to first take the medicine in. You have to swallow it and let the nutrients go throughout the system, and then you have to have elimination. So we're in the process of eliminations, and my lectures are a major success because we address those things. We get that pain out, and we deal with the fact that our man has been hurting. Certainly we are hurting, and we're all in pain, but we have to come back together on that issue and try to work it out. I don't like the picture in the book. It's an ugly picture, but we have an ugly problem that we have been turned into as a result of living here in white America. Many of us do not have knowledge or information and education that can benefit the larger community. What I'm saying is that we have mixed up our priorities. We cannot go outside the home and correct it until we correct the problems we have inside the home. So our being out of control is that we have refused to allow and accept the black man to give us any direction on anything we're doing. Just like the black man's failure and his impotence to function in this society, that's not innate. This is something that has been bred into us since we have come to this country. What we need to do now is to recognize, you know, where we are, and for us sisters, not to fight me if you are not guilty of the things that I charge in my book. I need you to get on my side and to help me raise these other sisters. That message remains the same, and it's a problem that we need to solve, and I don't back down off of the truth. A family is like a nation. And in every nation, you must have one head of the government that the rest of the people in that nation cooperate with in order to be successful. And if not, you have anarchy. And that's what we have now in our black homes because the man has been displaced. And we have devalued the importance of the black man in the home in order to save the black family. It can't be done with just black women and us being pumped up to think that we are the strongest, and we are strong.
The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman. The #1 bestseller of 1990 is the most talked about, the most popular, and the most written about book Black America has ever seen. Newspapers across the country had a field day. Every editor, every publication, and every writer eagerly sunk their teeth into the meatiest topic they had ever encountered: personal relationship problems of black men and black women. The Black Man's Guide is discussed from the pulpit, debated in seminars, examined in college, and argued about on street corners. Never in African American history has a document surfaced that forces every black person to look outward and inward. Reactions run the gamut from praise and gratitude to hostility and outrage. The educated bulk at its lack of scholarship and standard documentation, while the general masses of the people say they are grateful for its straight talk and uncomplicated descriptions of what slavery has done to black women in America. Whatever the reaction, whatever the opinion, it is clear to every Negro, black, or African American that Shahrazad Ali is the black man's new champion. This woman is on a mission. Her strength, her guts, and her unstoppable energy to single-handedly defend and uplift black men has never been witnessed before on this continent. Black men report that the book has re-energized them to become better husbands and fathers, and has given them a new sense of worth and brotherhood with each other.
Let's meet the little tornado who started it all. My brothers and sisters, let us welcome Sister Shahrazad Ali.
Good afternoon. Anselm. I'd like to certainly thank Dr. Johnson and the National Association of Conscious Black Women for having the courage to invite me here. I think that most of you have heard, read, or seen something about my book around the country. I've been on a national tour for 12 months, and I'm doing the lecture tour to reach a lot of our people who perhaps got the wrong understanding from television. Television shows are designed in a certain way by the producers of those shows to exploit whatever the idea is that's being presented so as to get high ratings. And so they have kind of had me back against the wall, and so I'm doing the lecture tour so that I could go around and perhaps give our people a little relief, because so many things have been taken out of context and it has created a lot of confusion. My position is that the black woman's disrespect and rebellion against the leadership and the authority of the black man is a direct cause of the breakdown in our black family structure. Now, of course, there are many black people who consider those fighting words, because as black women, we have never been subject to the kind of examination that our men have been subject to since we have been here. We have been somewhat protected and shielded from any kind of critiquing about our personal behavior, whereas our men have always been up for examination. The book is not an attack on black women. I have never said that all black women do everything that I list in my book. None of us have lived long enough to do everything that I list in the book, but most of us do some of the things that I've listed in my book. And I do say that it is not because of generalizations that we are all victimized by some of the negative patterns of behavior in the book, but the book just represents our collective contribution. This is some of everything that we have done, or that we do daily, that contributes to the breakup of our relationship, the destruction of our man, and the failure of our children to be able to function. They did not tell us that all of that, being my own person and I'm independent, would lead to separation, loneliness, celibacy, and lesbianism. They didn't tell us that if you give up the man, you're going to take one of these things and it's worse and it will destroy your nation. They didn't give us that information. They made us think that it was some kind of glorified position to brag about the fact that I got my own job, my own credit card, my own car, so I don't need no man. I don't even know how we got that mixed up. Ain't none of that got nothing to do with being with no man. We have some serious relationship problems that nobody has been able to address us on, because everybody wants to pretend that this is not going on. Over 60% of our women are single, widowed, separated, or divorced. They don't have a man. I just came out of Florida, and they got a housing complex that the Urban League built, which is a black organization that is for women and children only. They say they don't allow any men in there. I didn't have time to deal with it, but I talked about them real bad. That's the silliest program I've ever heard of. You know them women that had men if they got a bunch of children. They need fathers. They need protection. We hear about the drug problem that we have in our projects across the country. It's one of the major places that we have a drug problem. You know, we talk about the great strength that we have as black women. Well, the welfare department don't rent government apartments to single black men. Those apartments belong to black women who are allowing this to go on in their home. We have not looked at what part of the responsibility do we share. Yes, black men sell a lot of drugs, and a lot of us black women get the money from them drugs and buy some of these fancy clothes we wear. Drive around in some of these fancy cars. He is not doing these things alone and without support from us, whether they are good or bad. See, we have a lot of power. We are very strong women. I'm saying that we're using our strength in the wrong direction. We're using it to tear our man down, tear our nation down, instead of building it up. Having an education and a job does not necessarily mean you have a successful life. I keep telling black women that to raise a child, they say, well, I provided with food, clothing, and shelter. That's not raising a child, that's maintaining one. To raise a child, you need a parental coalition of a man and a woman. We have sons who, by not having a father in the home, they don't know how to respect women. They take on the black female emotionalism. They become bitchy. They're doubtful. They're indecisive. They can't make a decision. They don't know what to do about being a man because we can't teach them that. We don't have that knowledge. We have daughters who grow up in a home where they don't see any affection, where there's no man there. They go out into the world and try to mate. They don't have no idea how to be no woman to no man, how to function in a house with a man, because they haven't seen it. Most of our children, just like us, get all the information we have about how you be with a mate off television. It's the only medium that shows us anybody being together. Those rules have not worked for us. The white woman's liberation movement, we don't have anything to do with that. We have not been under the control of the black man for over 500 years, so what do we have to get liberated from them from? They haven't been our boss. That's the white woman and her man. They're going through that, and that's their business. We don't have any business being in that. They only introduced it to break down the civil rights movement. Civil rights movement started with the black man, the black woman, and the black child standing together, trying to plead for freedom, justice, and equality, and more benefits in the country that they had built. They threw the white woman in there with the women's liberation movement and made it a woman against man thing. That created a big separation between black men and black women, because then everybody started going for self. Then they bring the welfare system in and tell us in order to feed and clothe and house our children, we have to give up our man. You have to put the man out of the house. When the white farm wife goes to the government for subsidy for the farm, they don't tell her to get rid of the farmer. They keep that family together. But in the black community, they make it a requirement, because they want to keep endorsing into the black community that the black man is no good, and that he is not deserving of respect. He is not deserving of us letting him give us any protection or instruction, and that we are better than them. The major responsibility that the black woman has had on the earth for the trillions of years that we have been here has been one of nutrition and birthing children. Those two things have a great deal to do with the survival of any people, the reproduction of the nation, and feeding them the proper food so that they can live. Those are very important jobs. Those are very powerful positions, because it puts us in a position to decide who's going to live or die, and how slow they're going to die by what we feed them. We have a very powerful position. That's not a small role that we play. We have just been taught to misrepresent and misuse that power. The people who we have been counting on to give us the truth about how to get along have failed. The white people don't know how to get along. They don't have that information themselves. They don't get along with nobody on earth. So they didn't have no information to impart to us about how we're supposed to get along. They change their relationship rules at will. We have, tons of black children around this country that I hear from who have grown up traumatized by the fact that they were referred to as the outside child. When we were having children like that, they called it illegitimate children, until the white woman started having them, and now it's single parenting. See, they changed the rules according to what they're doing. So I've called on our people to change them depending on what we want to do, what our needs are. There's another need that has not been addressed in our community, because nobody will deal with it, and that's one that God did not create three sexes. We only have men and women. Now, I have not said that we should reject the sisters who trying to act like men and the men who trying to act like women. I'm not saying